You're listening to Soundside. I'm Libby Dankman. It's opening day at T-Mobile Park. In just hours, Mariners fans will be back in the stands, ready to cheer on the team as they look to improve on last year's record-breaking playoff run. The M's won the AL West, but fell agonizingly short of the World Series. It is an interesting time to be a Mariners fan right now. I mean, first of all, our nachos float in a souvenir ferry boat container that you probably saw on social media. Secondly, our expectations are super high. Gone are the days where, maybe we'll make the playoffs. Maybe we'll have a couple games in October. Now M's faithful are expecting greatness. We have seen how good this team can be. We're ready for more. Here to either temper our expectations or bolster our enthusiasm, maybe even make us a little bit delusional, is Kate Preuser, the editor-in-chief of Lookout Landing. Kate, thank you so much for being back on the show.
I'm happy to be here and peddle my particular brand of Delulu to your listeners.
I'm here to follow you there, Kate. I'll follow you anywhere. So you have been covering spring training. I mean, what's it looking like? What's the deal?
It's a really good vibe. Everybody is, it's pressure, but it's the privilege that is pressure. So everybody seems really, I would say, steely-eyed in a way. Like they know what, they came so close, they know what they have to do next. And it feels purposeful and like there's a direction and everybody is rowing the boat in the same direction. So it does feel more intentional, I think, than in years past. But it's still light. It's still fun. And I think you can see that as a group, and you can also see that individually in certain players who did not have the season they wanted. And I'm thinking of one in particular, didn't have the season that they wanted to have last year and went home and really worked the off season, worked their plans, and are coming back better than ever.
Can you share who that is?
That is KUOW, who is my pick for a breakout player this year. He had a great spring. You really look at him last year and he was kind of cast adrift. Like he made the majors. He was kind of thrust into this position because of injuries. He was just treading water. He was trying to keep his head. And in some ways, I think that's like a microcosm for the whole team. They were in these new waters. They didn't know. They're pushing into the postseason. They don't know how their bodies are going to respond. I think KUOW, you really saw him run out of gas. And you can kind of extrapolate that to the rest of the team, right? He went home. He worked really hard on his conditioning. He worked hard on cleaning up some footwork, some defensive miscues he'd had. And he came back and he had a great spring. And I feel like that is, in a nutshell, the story of what you're going to see with the team this year.
So MLB's power rankings came out and the M's are listed third in the power rankings in the entire league. So we're talking the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, and then your Seattle Mariners. How do you feel about that? Does that feel accurate?
I think there are some people who see the Mariners as a better team than the Blue Jays, honestly. I was just looking at the CBS Sports. They came out with their playoff predictions. And obviously, the Dodgers are the chalk pick. The Dodgers are the easy pick. But there are a lot of people who just, I think mostly because they don't want to pick the Dodgers, who are picking the Mariners. Like they are kind of, which we've seen this happen before. We've seen World Series hype coalesce around the team and then come to nothing. So I think Seattle fans know how to like brush it off. But at the same time, I think it's a recognition of what they did last year and a recognition of how much more they have to do this year and what a better team they are, because they are a better team. They're going to get a full year of Josh Naylor. I was so impressed with Brendan Donovan this offseason or this spring. So they really had a winning offseason too. Jose Ferrer, kind of a little bit of an under the radar for a casual fan, but bolstering the bullpen, lengthening that bullpen, which was such an issue for them at times during that playoff run. They just went out and they attacked the offseason, and it's hard not to feel pretty confident.
Yeah, Josh Naylor, definitely the headline, locking him in at first base, but maybe we can just go around first position players and then turn to the pitching staff. Like, what were your biggest additions to the roster, in your opinion, in this offseason?
Definitely it's Naylor because of the leadership he brings beyond what he does on the field. He is the smartest baseball player I've ever been around. Like, he is so incisive in the way that he watches the game is different than I've ever interacted with a player who he really does just analyze and break down, and he's in every moment. He thinks about the game like a pitcher, really, and like a defensive player, and like an offensive player. His mind is really impressive. Cole Young at second base, I think, is also going to be a tremendous upgrade from what they had last year because of the improvements I saw this spring. Offensively, defensively, he's hitting the ball hard consistently, something he wasn't always able to do last year. He just seems to understand himself more as a ball player. So I think they get an upgrade there. And then they traded for Brendan Donovan from the St. Louis Cardinals, largely known as like a utility player. I had questions about how he was going to fit on this roster defensively. He's been a second baseman. Obviously, they have Cole Young there. They don't want to move Cole Young off of that. So he's going to be playing some third. But I thought the third base defense looked solid this spring. He's working with Perry Hill, the Mariners' defensive coach, who is just this guru. And he's got a motor that won't quit. I never saw him not working. He was out there every morning working with Bone, they call Perry Hill, working with Perry Hill, working in the cages, talking, him and Naylor head to head, just talking about, and then Rob Refsnyder, another guy that they got primarily as a platoon bat. He'll be in right field, maybe play some DH. He's there largely to hit your lefty pitchers. And that's the kind of like marginal upgrade that they made. They made the big upgrades, but they also made little small ones. So as far as the infield goes, I feel pretty good about it. J.P. Crawford is obviously a question mark right now.
Shortstop J.P. Crawford. It's a shoulder injury.
It's a shoulder injury. It's something that has bothered him in previous years. The Mariners are being pretty tight-lipped about it. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to start opening day. Who knows? By this point, the lineup will be out, and who knows? Maybe he magically appears on it. I don't know, but it does seem like they're kind of priming Leo Rivas to take those shortstop reps in his place. I know people are really excited about prospect Colt Emerson, who I think is hugely impressive, but just not quite ready yet for defensively. He'd be fine. The bat is not quite ready for big league pitching, and he's young. He's like 20. I don't even think he's 21 yet. So.
Yeah, but maybe some time in the minors, and then we'll see him perhaps later in the season. We'll see. How about this pitching staff? Because in the modern era, the M's really live and die on their pitching staff. You know, additions of some bats like Naylor, maybe that'll change a little bit how much, everything sort of hangs on those starters and relievers. But what's your read on how this pitching staff is shaping up for the new season?
Yeah, well, it's interesting to talk about the pitching staff as not the primary strength, the overwhelming strength of this team, because that has so much been their identity. The rebuild was built around that core of young pitchers that they took in the 2018-19 drafts: Kirby, Gilbert, Wu, Miller, and then acquiring Luis Castillo, who has been such an anchor to that rotation and will continue to do that this year, I think. I don't know that you're going to see the heights of the 2022-2023 pitching staff just because they're all a little older in their careers. Hitters have seen them more. There's more of a book on them. And all of them are getting close to, I think, what their final forms as pitchers are. And they're all very good, to be clear. They're all very good. But I feel like people are always expecting, like, George Kirby to come out with some new pitch. Like, they're not really at the stage of new pitches anymore. They have settled into who they are, but now they have an offense that can – they don't have to be winning games 2-1.
They don't have to be perfect.
They don't have to be perfect. And I think that you're going to see that in just – a collective release from the pitching staff where they don't feel like they have to just be scratching and clawing and holding these tiny little leads that the offense gives them or trying to keep the other team off the board as much. They have an offense that can back them up. They can relax some. So I don't know that the story of the team is going to be the pitching. I think the story of the team is going to be how complete of an effort it is.
I'm talking with Kate Preuser with Lookout Landing. I would say the best place to find your Mariners content, the coverage, and I love the podcast. I'm a Lookout Landing podcast girly. Kate Preuser is the editor-in-chief at Lookout Landing. We're talking about Mariners opening day. Kate, before we go, Cal Raleigh, it's characteristic for him to have kind of slow spring training. Maybe the bat isn't completely there. World Baseball Classic, it was a pretty cold tournament for him in terms of, as a batter. I'm curious what you think of the pressure that is on him as just such a clear leader and somebody who hit 60 home runs, in the last season. Oh, and by the way, he catches basically every game. What do you think about Cal Raleigh's prospects this year?
I think that you're not expecting a repeat of what he did last year, right? Like he's not going to get that many pitches to hit anymore. I think the Mariners put out sort of a tongue-in-cheek commercial about that today, sort of.
He's
nodding.
Like wearing a disguise.
Yes. Yeah, nodding to a very famous earlier Mariners commercial when Felix was the star of the team. Everyone knows Julio is a star. Cal is, I think, has surpassed him as maybe the most recognizable Seattle Mariner right now, which is a lot of pressure. I do think Cal is uniquely positioned to deal with that kind of pressure just because of the person he is, the steady heartbeat he has. It's almost obsessive the way that he insists on treating every day the same and really shuts down conversations like that about, it was hard a lot of times last year interviewing him, trying to get him to put what he was doing in context because he couldn't. And really, we shouldn't have been asking him that. That was our job, to put what he was doing in context.
Yeah, but can you believe you're at this moment? Yeah. You've surpassed this milestone. And it's like, he doesn't want to talk about any of that. He's in it day by day.
But how can you not want to ask? It's like, What does it feel like to run a marathon on the moon? Like, you are doing something no one else has ever done. I would like to hear what it feels like to be in that skin right now. Yeah. So it's very tempting, but I think it's hard to process in the moment, and he's very good at compartmentalizing. So I think we see a step back just because he's not going to get the same pitches to hit, but also sort of similar to the pitchers, it's not all on Cal anymore. He's got Naylor around him. Brendan Donovan is an on-base machine. Everything I saw in spring training was him figuring out how to get. I haven't even talked about Luke Raley, the outfielder either, who was hurt most of last year. We did not see the best of Luke Raley. He had a huge spring. And talking about getting on base any other way, Luke will wear 98 off the shin happily if it gets him to first base. So
I love it.
Setting all of that up and putting the machine around him that is just constantly putting pressure on pitchers. And I feel like when you saw the team break down a little down the stretch last year, it was because everybody was trying to be the hero. And I think Cal feels that. As good as he is at compartmentalizing and trying to go up to the plate with a clear mind, he knows what the stakes are. And I think you did see, especially as things wound down in that Blue Jays series, guys trying to win the game themselves.
Yeah, with one swing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And hopefully that pressure is going to be lessened on not just Cal, but on Julio as well.
Kate Prusser, editor-in-chief of Lookout Landing. Is Bryan Woo healthy?
He is. I haven't seen anything to indicate that he is not. I thought that question was going to be about Bryce Miller. So
sorry.
It took me a minute.
Tell me about Bryce Miller, too.
Yeah, Bryce is not healthy. Bryce is going to be starting the season on the IL. And I know that worries a lot of people because he missed time last year with the elbow injury. And everyone was like, why didn't he just have the surgery? He has, bone spurs in his elbow or something. Why didn't he have the surgery this offseason? Because you don't want to go in and rearrange someone's elbow unless you have to. And they found a plan that works. And the plan was he's got this sort of gel cortisone injection that has been working for him. The abdomen or oblique thing, not really connected. It's on the other side of his body. Just kind of a freak injury, I think. Maybe a little bit of overcompensation, but I'm not super worried about it. I think he'll be back. I'm not super worried about Bryan Woo, even though of the 5, he is maybe the one you were kind of have the most concern about. And the Mariners have learned how to help Bryan Woo manage his workload too. He got through a lot of innings last year, significantly more than he'd ever pitched. And you learn a lot about yourself and how to recover and how to take care of yourself. And yeah, the pitching health is not something I'm obviously. Do you have any wood around here I can knock on?
You gotta probably Probably got to get all the way down to the floor to find real wood. Knock on 4, Micah.
Yeah, nobody likes talking about pitcher injuries. Whenever we ask like Justin Hollander, the GM, about it, he just this look of nausea passes over his face because it's so impossible to predict pitcher injuries. They're so devastating when they happen. All you're hoping for is like just get through as much of the season as healthy as you can. So I don't speculate on it. I know that the Mariners have an excellent training staff, and that all the pitchers, as they were young, but as they kind of evolve into their careers, they learn more and more about how to take better care of themselves.
Who's the ace this year?
That is such a hard question.
Is there an ace? Are they all aces?
They're all, well, oops, all aces. We had a T-shirt for a while that said that. I think each of them do something very well. And I would say my personal ace is not the one that would come to mind for most people. It's Luis Castillo, because he is when everyone was going through health issues, he took that ball every 5th day. He was out there and you kind of knew what you were going to get out of him. It wasn't always the most sterling performance. It wasn't the best numbers wise, but he was reliable day in, day out. And that's so centering to especially a staff that's going through injuries. So for me, I give him the Gold Star Award just for availability is the best ability, right? I think we're going to see a big year from Logan Gilbert, who is healthy. I think his injuries really kind of wreaked a little bit of havoc with his season last year. George Kirby, I hope to see, again, was dealing with an injury that I think bothered him, just kind of lingering soreness. So hoping to see a step forward for him. I predicted Bryce Miller an all-star last year, and then he wound up getting hurt. So I'm hoping he just is a year late on that, which would be very Bryce to do it, but to do it a year later, a little oppositional defiant, that's very Bryce Miller. They're all good, and there's more waiting in the wings, which is MLB should intervene. Really, it's not fair. It's not fair that we also have Kate Anderson and Ryan Sloan, who might be the best pitching prospect in baseball by this time, 3 months from now, maybe.
Before we go, we haven't even, I guess we mentioned him, but in prior seasons, I feel like Julio Rodriguez would be like the guy that we're like, okay, can Julio carry this team this year? And as we've been talking about, the depth is just so much greater than we've had in prior Mariners seasons. Any final thoughts here on who is the leader of this team at this point? Is it everybody?
Yeah, I think similar to who is the staff ace, which isn't a question that I think really has an answer. It's Naylor is the logician. He's the leader, like as far as he will talk to you about game. He's the tactician, maybe. Cal is the field general, right? Julio is the enthusiasm, the heart, right? The excitement, the joy, the bigger than life personality. JP is the clubhouse DJ, first of all. I'm excited to hear some lemon pound cake. I'm hoping some lemon pound cake comes up in the clubhouse because JP is very much in charge of that aspect of things.
Hugely important.
Yes. What's on the win playlist, which is, I've got my fingers crossed for that one. It's everybody has kind of their role to play. And talking to some of the newer guys this spring, they were like, this is a great organization. This is a great group of guys. There's really not a jerk to be found among them. And I know it sounds like lip service or whatever. And these were guys who were, they were non-roster invites. They're going to play in Tacoma. They don't have any history with Seattle, but they were really impressed by the culture of this organization. And I think that filters down from the top, and it filters down from Dan Wilson, who almost to a fault treats everyone the same and sees the value in everybody and encourages everyone to bring like their specific gifts. So I think that's what you see on the field. It's a really fun time to be a Mariners fan, and you can root for this team on and off the field for sure.
We're just a few hours away from opening day, from the first game, and I still haven't signed up for my TV situation of how I'm going to actually watch these games, because RIP Root Sports, we will always have our memories, but that's gone. So now people have to do what, Kate? MLB TV? That's the route?
It's mariners.tv. So if you go to Mariners, it's, I think, $100 for the season, something like that. Seems pretty reasonable. That's if you are a cable cutter, though, or a cord cutter. If you do have a cable package, I don't think they've finalized what channel it's going to be on, but I have been assured that you will have access to just a different channel than Root, but you should still have that included in your cable channel. I know that people are freaking out because they're like, they want to know what the exact channel is going to be. Yeah. If you are really, really panicky about it, you can just pay for a month of Mariners TV for $20 and also kind of see how you like it, really.
Such a joy sitting down with you to talk baseball, Kate. You seem excited. I mean, opening day is just always such a nice, it's like the season has changed. Baseball is back. All is right with the world. But this season especially, our hopes are super freaking high. And I'm hearing from you that it's okay. That's justified.
Yeah. I mean, this is different than, I know a lot of people got their hopes crushed by the 2022 to 2023, right? They make the playoffs in 2022. It's so fun. They have that crushing loss against the Astros. And then 2023 was a really forgettable season. And I understand why people are hesitant to check back in with the hype train. But it's so different. This is a way better built team. They went deeper into the playoffs than they ever had before. That 2022 team really did kind of sneak in there, wild card. And they did a lot of really fun things, but that was a flawed team. And then their additions in the 2023 offseason were not, let's just say that it was not Josh Naylor and Brendan Donovan. It was some stopgap pieces. I also feel like Mariners ownership has now seen what the city can do for a team that's playing winning baseball, and it's made them more willing to invest.
Exactly. Like this city comes alive when the Mariners are playing
Seattle
well.
is a baseball city.
100%. Kate Prusser, she is the conductor of the hype train. She's got her big floppy hat on. She's got her choo-choo going on. And thank you so much. And how can people follow you at Lookout Landing? What's the best way?
Yes, just check in on the site. We have new stuff every day. We do a news roundup. We're currently working on a season preview. If you check the site today, we always do. It's a site tradition. And if it all goes wrong, and then if it all goes right. So we will punch you in the face, but then kiss it better. So it's don't read just one of them. I mean, or read just the if it all goes right if you're just a pure optimist. But we like to really set the highs and the lows for what you could see this season. But it's an opening day tradition. We'll have guides to T-Mobile Park, just various things, and then we cover all the news, the game write-ups, everything. And you can listen to our podcast. It's called Meet at the Mitt.
Meet at the Mitt. I'm a listener. Thank you, Kate. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. This is always so fun every year to sit down and do.
Thanks for listening to Soundside. Don't forget you can listen live on KUOW 94.9 Seattle at noon and 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, or anytime right here online at KUOW.org, or of course on your favorite podcast app.